The Cyrax Vandal or the Araxes Vandal? Which is the better skin in Valorant? These two collections obviously have very similar alien-esque themes. In fact, they even practically have the same variants, with red like you saw in the thumbnail, white, purple, and an ugly variant as well. Let's compare these two skins based on things like the price, sound, animations, and more to see if this new Vandal can dethrone Araxes. I think the first thing we should talk about is the overall design, because the Cyrax Vandal is very distinct. The shape is all cut up and some parts of it are even floating, which in the lobby initially I thought it looked a little bit tacky and even unfinished, but when you actually get in game with the skin, I think it doesn't feel that bad because these moving parts do float around and match you with your movement. You do also hold this Vandal slightly differently compared to normal. Your hand positioning is just a little bit lower, so I think this might actually make it feel a little more different compared to most skins. The overall design of this skin did seem to miss the mark for a lot of people based on what I saw from just reactions online and talking with some creators and friends, whereas in comparison, Araxes just looks and feels like a staple Vandal skin that people are going to be more comfortable using. I do want to give props to Riot for doing something different with this skin in terms of being shaped so differently, and it does feel to me that a lot of effort went in, even if the theme is similar to Araxes. Some of the subtle details like the animated texture I do like, but I think most people will still prefer Araxes purely because it's familiar, and when I asked you guys, I was shocked by just how much the majority favored Araxes. Next though, let's compare the sound design for these two guns. Take a listen. I don't mind how the new Cyrax Vandal sounds. The shooting is pretty good, and some of the little squeaks on the reload and inspect I think are nice as well, but overall in this case Araxes does more for me. The shooting sound is iconic at this point, so I'd say that Araxes overall is a better sounding Vandal skin. However, I do want to separately compare the kill or ace sounds because those are pretty important to how the skins feel to use, so take a listen. They are quite similar, but Araxes feels more boring to me out of these two. It's just what we're used to and sort of plain. I mean, of course it is older, so it does make sense, but I really love the way the kill sounds on Cyrax feel really grand scale and almost scary in a way. Now we've got some of the animations for these two skins, and first of all, the equips are nearly identical. Cyrax only looks different because it's held differently, and I can't really pick a favorite here. I do like the way the scales almost stretch out on Araxes, but on the other hand, I think the crystals jumping out from the barrel also look good. Then the inspect animations, Cyrax doesn't do anything too crazy. The crystals spinning are cool, sure, but pretty basic overall. Then Araxes is a little bit better, doing a different pose at least, and again, with the scales moving. The only other animation is the reload, where technically Cyrax is different because on the last step you just reload it one-handed while Araxes does the default, pulling the handle back, but really both of these reloads are a little lackluster and carried by the actual effects of the gun rather than the animations themselves. Next, I'll quickly go over the finishes for these two skins, and even though Araxes has that unique feature where every other body killed by an Araxes skin gets abducted too, I think I still prefer the finisher on Cyrax because of how ominous it feels and how it sounds. Now, I briefly went over the variants at the start of the video, and there isn't really too much to unpack here because it's basically all four of the same variants. The brown or orangey ones are the only real difference, but I do think those are easily the worst in both cases. So yeah, it's hard to say really which skin has the better variants here because they're almost identical. Finally, that brings us to the price, and according to leakers, Cyrax is going to cost 8,700 Valorant points for the whole bundle, which checks out with the exclusive icon in game, and it would mean that both of these Vandal skins have the exact same price at 2,175 Valorant points. I think in terms of Valorant skins, this one isn't really unfairly or unexpectedly priced, as it does have enough going on to be called an exclusive tier skin. Ultimately, out of these two Vandals, I do think that Araxis is the winner here. It feels better to use in game, and I'm also a little confused why we've already got another skin bundle with such a similar theme. They really went all out on the trailer, which makes me wonder if the crystals here are purposefully similar to the ones we've seen in Valorant's lore recently, but that's a topic for another video. Overall, I do still like the Cyrax Vandal. I think it's very overhated and I might pick it up for myself, but that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about these two skins, so let me know your thoughts in the comments.